Before we get started, I kind of wanted to share something with you.
Oh God! What?
Actually, this is it was an information provided from my sister-in-law, Chichi, who brought this to my attention recently, along with the main topic we'll be talking about, which I can't quite remember if I've heard this news before because this was back in like 2012, but either I completely forgot about it or never even heard about it, that it came to such shocking, visually speaking. It was so funny. I just wanted to share with you. So back in 2012, this is in Italy, one church had this painting called the Ecce Homo, or Ecce Homo in English. Yeah.
Ecce Homo.
Yeah, from the 1930s.
And the woman painted over it.
Yeah, have you seen this portrait?
I saw it. It was. I cannot believe she did that. And she was like super defending the fact that she did that.
You see the picture, right?
I saw the before and after.
So for those that's not familiar with this, again, this is kind of old news, but newish to me, or reminder. It's just so hilarious. There was a painting in a church of Jesus Christ titled Ecce Homo, painted back in 1930. Basically, this lady noticed that there were cracks, or the painting itself, the fresco painting, was coming off, and she took it upon herself. Mind you, apparently a really amateur curator decided to take it upon herself to restore this old painting. And so here's the actual original painting. And then the aftermath of it was...
Oh my God. That makes me hurt. Like, it's just so cringy.
It's art in its own way, I feel like. For those that cannot see this or don't know what it looks like, I don't know, how would you describe this? A painting done by, I don't know, a 7 years old, maybe? With like knows a little bit about painting, I guess. But yeah, the feature, like anatomical features all gone. It's just like a round blob with two dauntingly dark eyes with I don't know how to describe this, but
it's got some sort of hood scarf thing.
Yeah.
Around its head.
I thought it was a hair, like a miniature afro that just kind of connects with its beard.
Yeah, it was the unibeard. The
unibeard, yeah.
Just connects. Yeah.
That looks like a hood over the Christ's head. But I don't know.
And he's wearing a muumuu now.
He's definitely wearing a muumuu.
Oh my God.
That's amazing, because
so
this actually gained a lot of attention, and apparently the church it brought in a lot of audience to the church, made the town pretty popular during that time, helped out both economically and just surfaced the town on map.
Oh my God, that is stupid. I cannot believe that. Like, that, a beautiful piece of art then gets obliterated.
Comparison.
And people are like, ooh, I want to go see it. I mean, that brings up so many things, so many feelings.
I mean,
feels.
Courageous.
It's like people wanted to see it, didn't want to see it until it got butchered. So they want to go look at the train wreck. And then people profited off of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it is weird. Although, if you're anywhere near that town, you would go check it out, though, won't you?
Yeah, but I would feel really awful. I mean, it would just make me feel more sick to my stomach to look at that. Ugh.
The thing is, I personally don't have such connection with biblical artworks as much, I mean, it's an amazing looking piece, but at the same time, I don't know, I kind of like the newer version of it. I think it's hilarious. I almost wish she did it intentionally,
Yeah.
But I don't I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. I thought it was fun.
I think it's fair to bring up.
It's hilarious. If you haven't seen it.
It's so weird that I saw when I turned my Zoom on, I saw that and I was like, oh, what are we going to say about that? And yeah. That's I just can. I remember I was so upset by that for a while. I would just think about it and be like, oh my god, that's so awful. Because I was like really in the height of that classical realism phase, and so it was cringy.
I feel like, I don't know, I totally understand where you come from, but at the same time, the debauchery of this, the way she tried to restore it was just so over the top. For me, it just, I don't know, it struck a chord like in a comical way. I think it's funny.
Yeah.
All right, well, shall we get on with the actual piece?
We shall.
Welcome to this week's episode of Two Idiots Talking About Art. Hi, my name is W. Nautiscork, and with me, as always, is Rodney Thompson.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Ahoy, ahoy to you, too. So,
Thank you, Mr. Krabs.
why, of course. So, this week's episode, our talking piece, we're going to be talking about a controversy that happened pretty recently. Let's see. A century-long tradition of fine arts competition held during the Colorado State Fair had a bit of online debate with its latest submission of an art piece. The piece in question is a full-on AI-generated print work by Jason Allen. He submitted the piece stating that the piece was made by Jason Allen via Midjourney, which, if you're not familiar with that, it's an independent research lab that produces a proprietary artificial intelligence program that creates images from textual descriptions. So basically a code that you write generates artwork. Anywho, this piece actually won first prize in a specific category, but yeah. And the judges...
It's in the digital art category, right?
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
And the judges claimed that they did not recognize the piece as an AI-generated work while picking the winner, though later states that the information would have been irrelevant to the deciding of it, due to the fact that he basically did not break any rules. So, that's the controversy, and today's topic is AI art considered art? We delved into digital art, and its legitimacy over the past several episodes. Talked about it with other interviewees, and I feel like it's a great area, but this is a whole new ground.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like until I can sit down and have a cup of coffee with the robot that's making the painting, then it's not art yet.
Well, I feel like that's not going to be too far in the future.
I mean, if I'm like hanging out with Johnny Five, then yeah, then that could be art because he's sentient. But if you're just like typing random like big poo poo daddy into an AI program and then having it generate a scene, you didn't do anything.
Yep. Well,
you let somebody else do it for you.
Well, the program itself, I mean, okay, let's acknowledge some facts with it too. So obviously, it's a little bit more complicated than somebody going and opening up an app and typing in make art, and then voila, there's a beautiful artwork created by it. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at the actual piece in question, titled, what was it called? It's called a Teatre di Opera Speciale, I think. I might have got it wrong, but something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
So here's the thing, like, as far as like first impression itself goes, I actually really like it. I think it's cool as hell. This
I
is
mean, it looks like cool fantasy art.
it is, right? Like
But
something you might see in like a conceptual art for Dune, you know,
yeah,
or Fifth Element. Ooh.
it's
Maybe.
it's the way it turned out. I mean, it looks cool, but
Mm.
I mean, he didn't spend hours rendering it. He didn't spend hours compiling imagery or
So
putting it together in just the right way, creating the lighting. Like he didn't do any of that.
he does claim that he spent something close to 80 hours of testing out different prompts, which is the coding. Basically, as a whole, the concept of the program itself, how it works, is that the AI, you feed information to the AI by sending in, actual art pieces, and the AI itself calculates like positioning, composition, coloring, lighting, and all that. And
Mhm.
the programmer also adds prompts to kind of specify theme. So there's certain sense of previs or pre-visualization happening on the, and I guess you can't call it an artist. I don't want to call it an artist, so I'm gonna call it a coder or a programmer for the rest of this show.
Yes.
The
Yes.
programmer or keys in certain prompts, and as a combination, it creates these visual thing. Now, in the process of it, he had to spend about 80 hours retrying and recreating something close to 100 different types of prints to kind of narrow down to a specific look that he himself was pleased with and considered. And he did say touched up a little on Photoshop too. So those are the
Okay.
facts there, right? So it's definitely a little bit more than just a hit of the enter on your keyboard and then voila, you got yourself a piece. But then again, the question lies like, okay, well, that may be the truth, but is it still can it be considered like a man-crafted, or is it equivalent to a man-crafted art, whether it's digital or physical paintings or any kind of other mediums? I think that's more the question, right?
Hmm.
And what do you think about that?
I don't think it could be considered art.
I thought you were gonna say I don't think. Stop.
Yeah. Period.
Period.
I don't.
No.
Never. Um, I don't think so. I mean, he didn't really create any of that in any sort of real technique. He coded. I mean, at best, he could be a graphic designer.
Yeah.
No offense to graphic designers. Did like he didn't have any sort of, I mean, just trying to pick words to make something else create for you. That's like me standing behind you painting saying, no, move your brush that way. No, move your brush that way. Wipe that off, move your brush that way. That's basically what he's doing. And
That's a-
and that I didn't create the piece. You would have created the piece.
That's actually pretty funny that you mentioned that, because I have a quote here from a comic book artist. Comic book artist Chris Shehan, who wrote on Twitter, let's pretend AI art didn't exist for a second. Someone sends an artist a bunch of prompts. The artist does art and sends it back to the person who write the prompts. That person then enters the art into a contest under their own name and wins. That's unethical. So yeah, that's kind of exactly what you're talking about. Which,
Exactly.
but here's the thing that gets a little tricky in my opinion. Like, all right, so sure, it's almost hands off in a very traditional sense as far as art crafting goes. But then, like, let's bring in like the champ, like, and his minimalism as far as like, I don't think he made that toilet,
No, he didn't make it. It was a found object.
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was labeled art, questionable
Yeah.
at the time for sure.
Oh yeah. I think still even now.
Yeah, but at least there is a community that accepts that, right?
Hmm.
Isn't it? I know, I know it's like a drastic way of it's a drastic comparison, but isn't it kind of the same thing though?
I feel like that's kind of in the same vein. I mean, there's gonna be a community that accepts that decision. And the
Mhm.
the only reason that it didn't break any rules in the competition is because AI is like brand new. Like there's no precedent. That has set a precedent for it. So
Yeah.
it's going to. I imagine now a lot of competitions will say no AI generated art for for their digital things or competitions.
He himself does state that he's not an artist as a label himself. Um, Still giving himself credit for the piece, which is actually a pretty important aspect of this whole controversy. Because to question whether the piece that's been AI generated is artwork or not, if I were asked that, I would probably say it is art still. Like the art piece itself is, again, I mean, I there's no denying it's art. I love it. The There's nothing wrong with the piece itself. I think the question here is, are they artists?
Well, I
Right?
think no,
I
they're
don't.
not.
Again,
And I
programmer.
also think this is more like artistic imagery
Mhm.
rather than art because it was not done in an act of creating in a traditional sense of art, whether that's classic painting or digital painting or any sculpting or anything like that. It was done by coding.
Yeah,
So I don't think it could be called like any like art. I don't feel like that anyway.
I think it's become way too convenient in the sense of what the program needs to do, because apparently the technology for it has been around for somewhat close to 50 years
Mm.
as far as like concept of like AI generated art. But initial coding to it was a lot more detailed and specific. Like the program needed to act almost kind of like pull it by its hand to kind of guide it to creating the actual visual art. To that, which I I guess I'm more likely to side with that type of AI generated work. It's like actually, this is a bad metaphor, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Like, what's the artist that? Actually, I don't remember his name. The guy that puts a bucket in the middle of the room with a canvas directly underneath it, fills it with paint, pokes a hole underneath the can, and just kind of tosses it into the room. And
Oh yeah, it's like that pouring stuff. Yeah.
yeah, the momentum itself basically kind of splashes, kind of giving up Polak-esque painting, but in
Hmm.
a certain pattern. And yeah, the end result's beautiful. But as for the artist, how much was he actually part of it? Not a whole
Good
lot,
point.
but it's still,
So
I think it's still his work. In that
it's
sense,
closer to being art than this for sure.
yeah, no, 100%. It's such a gray area. I think the issue is that it would have been a problem if this thing didn't win any award.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, I had no issue with. I mean, I think hearing people say it's art is
Mhm.
irksome. Like I don't think it's not art. It to me, other people have their opinions,
Do you think it's
but
not?
I don't think it should win an award where people are actually doing the work themselves. You know.
Well, another thing just to clarify, for those listening, so it was again, Colorado State Fair, and they do have multiple categories, and this was a specific piece, one for a specific category, which was digital arts slash digitally manipulated photography. And it did win first place, but there are other categories, including emerging artists, drawing, printmaking, sculpture, 3D, ceramics, fiber art. Oh, that's crazy. I don't really like sculpture. 3D work was in the same as ceramics. That's kind of weird. Um, get your shit together, Colorado. I like Colorado. Anyways, photography, mixed media, jewelry, metal smithing, heritage, which I do not know what that means, but there are multiple categories, and this just happens to be in the digital arts category. So we always talk about, prior to this, if digital art itself was art, you know,
Yeah.
it is. What do you, your opinion on that? How do you feel about that? Like,
I think that's art. I do, because people are using a skill that they've learned over time and practiced and used a different medium to create an image. Not using a different entity to create an image. They used themselves, and they had a tool. But to have a different entity do the work for you is totally different.
well,
So I mean, I was on the fence about digital art because I was super elitist about fine art in general for so long.
sure.
And that mainly came from like, well, it's not painting, it's not drawing, you know. But there are things that digital art can do that painting and drawing can't do. And I think it's incredible the kind of stuff that you can do with it. And it is just a different form.
What so do
But
you,
it's still done by a person.
so do you think art is more the journey than the finish line?
I think it's both. I mean, I think it is the process and it is the end result.
Well, to that, let's read another quote from Jason himself. Also, he's kind of, I don't know him. I don't know anything about him, but reading a lot, I've been reading a lot up on a lot of the news articles. He seems kind of a douche.
Yes, I know. That's my vibe. That's what I got too. I mean, I don't know him, man. I'm only reading, but
I'm
the
basing
few
it off
things
his
that I've read, I'm
quote.
like, ooh, you're just a little, I don't know. It's just, I'm picking up on something. It just doesn't feel right.
That came out a little too harsh, but I don't know. I was kind of like trying to understand him too, but then here, where is it? There you go. Here, I'll just read some quotes from him, Jason Allen, that to the reporters, it shouldn't be an indictment of the technology itself. The ethics isn't in the technology; it's in the people. Which I'm like, yeah, okay, I agree. But aren't you the one kind of abusing that?
He's abusing it. Yeah.
And then he goes on to saying, "This isn't going to stop. Art is dead, dude. It's over. AI won. Humans lost."
Oh my God. I didn't see this one. Like,
Yeah,
what a dipshit.
this was actually on the New York Times.
Stupid.
Like, who says that? Like,
God, art is dead, dude.
it's I don't know. It's the tone, right? And
It's,
I can't.
I mean, that's more of the, yeah.
I can't help but hear it in a certain voice either. Like,
It's very nasally, probably.
yeah, it's like, this isn't going to stop.
Art is dead.
Art is dead, dude. It's over. AI won. Humans lost. Like, I don't know. There's something condescending about it. I'm just like, Again, maybe he's a super nice guy.
There's no humility in that.
No, there aren't. No. Like,
Jeez.
not to mention that, I mean, at that point, he's already kind of comparing this whole thing as a battle between traditional versus new media, which, in my opinion, I never thought it was.
It's not. I mean, it's a problem with people abusing it.
Yeah.
You know.
But he does have a point, though. Like, yeah, it's not the technology, it's the people and how they go about it, which brings me to the following question. Are AI art, or is AI art going to interfere with more traditional medium using artists in the future? Like, say,
I guarantee it will. I know people will get hooked onto that.
Like,
for one, it being probably easier to produce and not taking years of college to
cost
or atelier to get to it.
Cost efficient for sure.
Yeah, and also, I mean, there are cool images that come out of it, so I'm sure people are gonna jump on that.
Well, like, do you think it's gonna rob artists of potential commissions because of it?
Possibly, I think it might do like what photography did. You know, it made artists have to change the way they approach things. I mean, they photography made like portrait commissions drop a lot
Yeah.
when it first came about.
Well, I
So I
didn't.
think
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize
you know
that.
it could
Like,
do something along those lines, especially if
yeah.
it's easy to produce. You know, if somebody with absolutely no artistic skill
Hmm.
can produce a cool image, you know.
Well, I should mention, like, again, like, he did say he spent about 80 hours, but in the process of that, he made roughly about 100 prints.
Hmm.
Lays like a results of it. Um, how many pieces do you think you could make in 80 hours?
In 80 hours.
Let's just say for comparison's sake, like something as highly detailed as this, and I would assume it's
Oh,
pretty
that would probably take me that long,
80
at
hours
least.
period.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If it, I mean, depending on well, yeah. If it was small, then oh my, it would be really hard. If it was bigger, it would be really hard.
that's more of my concern, huh?
Yeah.
That these AI generated artwork could potentially meet market demand as well as pricing points too. Because what are you really paying for? Probably the service for the program in question is currently still in beta. So once it's actually out of the beta, they might probably start. I would assume they'll actually charge like annual service charge or something like Adobe does, and so you're just basically paying for that cost and prints, right?
I mean,
So
yeah,
it's
your overhead would probably be amazing. It's
so how would you compete with that as an actual artist? Like if somebody wants a portrait and all it takes is somebody to same exact steps as if you're asking for personal commission, uh, submit a photograph that you want a painting of, and the artist may take, I don't know, 10 hours or something, and it'll charge for decent size 1,000 plus or plus minus somewhere around there.
hmm
And the print and the AI generation could potentially sell that for, I don't know, $100,
yeah.
and we'll have the result in a day. Like, as from the customer's perspective, like, which would you choose? Like, do you really like, would they really decide the factor like, well, this is genuine painting against, oh, this is a print, and side with something that's going to cost possibly 10 times more? Or like, I don't know,
I,
it's gonna unbalance the whole market, you
for
know.
sure. Yeah, and I think it'll come down to the patron. You know, whether they are fans of traditional work
Hmm.
or real digital work, and they want something like that versus you know if they're n- naive to what goes into artwork and you know they want a cool image
Sure.
to hang in their house, then you know they'll probably go for the cheaper, easier one.
Like a But I guess the issue, at least right now, is that you can't necessarily get a specific result, right?
Yeah, I think it's only a matter of time before that
Yeah, that is
gets refined.
this is it's funny because initially before we started this episode, I was kind of, I don't know, I was like, I see the benefits of both side and I see the arguments from both end as well. But as I'm talking about it, there is a part of me that's slowly boiling. There's something boiling from within and just rising and rising, or like,
They're gonna do the
let me try
Naoko
this. Let me try this.
Hulk. Oh,
um,
oh, that's good.
I mean, because he's, they're right. Like, he's not doing anything wrong.
No, I think competitions need to like. I mean, if they want AI generated art, then they should say that that's okay or just leave it out. But if they don't, if they want, a lot of competitions will say no this, no that.
Right.
Like
They have
no
their own
digital work,
rules. Mm-hmm.
no altered photos, nothing like that. But I mean,
There should
they,
be a classification specifically for that genre for sure.
I really think that's true. Like if they want to give them a prize, and we're like, here, we're going to give you some lollipops because you typed in some words.
Oh, another information, just to kind of cease fire and or like put out the fire a little bit. He did with along with the first place prize that he won. He did earn some cash prize as well. It's not that much, $300. I mean, it's still a lot of money, but I'm just saying it's not an outrageous amount of money.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't get too pissed off about that. It's a few $100. Although,
I want to know who the hell the judges were.
Oh, do you want to? Would you like the names?
Yeah, that way I can know to hate them.
Let's see. Actually, I pulled it out earlier. Hold on 1 second. Sing us a tune while I look this up, Ronnie-san.
Oh God, what can I sing?
I found it.
It's not unusual to... and that's going to be in your head forever. You don't want me to sing.
Let's see.
I'll do this.
I don't see the name of the judges. All right, that's enough. I don't see the name of the judges, but I see the name of the executive director for the play festival, Danny McKinley.
He's fired.
She might not be affiliated with the judge or the person that made the judge on the piece itself, but yeah, I guess I don't see any names here. Wait, do I? Nope. Unfortunately, no. They hid that well. They knew a scrutiny was coming.
Yeah, I just want to know like what was going through their head,
right,
when they realized it was AI generated art. If they were afraid of being wrong and were like, no, I don't care, it's right. It's fine. You didn't do anything wrong. Or if they're like, oh shit, well, how do we fix this? And then went through all the rules and realized nothing could happen. So they just kind of were like, okay, we got to keep it.
Would you like me to fuel that anger just a little bit more?
Oh, damn it. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So this is irrelevant to Jason Allen's piece. One of the earlier AI generated piece comes from a company called, or a collaborate, what is it? Paris-based arts collective called Obvious. Back in 2018, they created this piece called Edmond de Bellamy. Here is the actual piece for it. Edmond de Bellamy, right here. So this was one of the first AI generated painting that actually got auctioned off. How much do you think it sold for?
Oh my god, probably some stupid like tens of thousands of dollars.
$432,000. Sorry, $432,500.
That is stupid.
Yep.
That is dumb. Oh my god.
I'm not going to read the details about it.
It looks like a pixelated hot mess.
It does. So in this case, people bought it for the sake that it was the actual AI generated painting or print, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's a print. Yeah, I mean, it's just,
which people are willing to. It goes back to that whole thing about like NFTs and all that. Like why people are putting all this money into it, which is
oh my god,
what's the problem?
Yeah.
Like,
if the digital artists and NFTs could just combine and then go over there to the other side of the room, that would be fine. I'd be happy with that. Not digital artists. I'm sorry, AI generated artist. Quote, unquote.
So AI generated art programmers.
Yes, programmers. AI programmers.
Mm-hmm.
Art programmers. Yeah, those guys with the NFT crowd can like just go over there.
iGap. AI generated art programmers. iGap.
iGap.
We'll call them iGap for the rest of the show.
Yeah, I get the eye gaps.
eye gaps. Well, the problem is pretty obvious here, that there are people that are interested in this form of art. I mean, after
I know.
all, as much as it's been criticized, there are people that's actually backing uh, the work by Alan, that's saying it's legit work. I mean, sure, it's not if somebody were to show me or give me the what do they call them, a software package, and I was like, here you go make yourself some AI generated digital work. Like I'm sure I'll be dumbfounded. I wouldn't know what to do with it. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
it takes more than, again, just a simple click of a button, but it just doesn't feel right. And I feel like that's where all this lays, right? As far as art goes, like it's all about the feeling, you know,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't sit right with me. Good. I'm finding which side of the story which side of the, yeah.
You've come to the right side, my
I
friend.
think I'm definitely on this side that I questioning the legitimacy of AI generated art. Well, no, I'm questioning the legitimacy of AI generated. Sorry, what do they call it? Eye gaps
Eye gaps.
being called artists. That's what it is.
That, yeah, for sure.
Again, I like the piece. I think it's freaking cool,
It does
and
look cool.
yeah, I have nothing wrong. No qualms there with that.
I would have been thoroughly impressed if he actually had rendered all of that in Photoshop. I mean, I
Yeah,
would have been blown away by that.
yeah. I mean, but here's the thing, which I'm a little concerned about. So, as mentioned earlier, the AI generated artwork still needs a basis to it, right? It needs some groundwork, which it collects from scanning or sorry, collecting information from other arts that's already been made by other artists. In one
Yeah.
way, you may say this is just like a AI being inspired. But then again, because you kind of skip through the whole processing of making the art and making your own. Like say like I were to look at your painting, study your painting and try to mimic and, come up with a specific style of my own but very related to yours.
Hmm.
But I went through the work process and it's definitely not the same artwork. Then it's inspired art. But if you're just collecting data and having something create manifest a certain artwork through that data without going through that middle process, isn't that kind of plagiarism?
Mm. Excellent ethical question.
Like I know it's more than that. It's not as simple as how I just described it.
No, but that's a good question. I mean, because they're not doing the process, they're not learning the skill, and
Hmm.
they're not doing master copies
Yep.
like you and I have had to do. You
Hmm.
know?
Not to mention, like, here's how I see it as like I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna say this, but I'm not 100% sure if this is a right metaphor for what I'm talking about. But let's say at the Oscars, you see all these celebrity walking down the red carpet, and they're in their fantastic dress or suit, and they showcase it, and people talk about it as like, oh, uh, Jessica Alba. I don't know why. I think it's because I just recently saw a poster of that movie Idle Hand like a couple hours ago. Anywho,
Oh, weird.
I know. Oh yeah. Yeah. Apparently, some places doing a special screening of that movie from was that 90s,
Like 1999 or
something like that,
98 or something like that. Yeah.
with Seth Green. And anyways, yeah, walks out on the red carpet with the dress, and then the dress is kind of attached to the actress or the celebrity and kind of praised by it, and the credit goes to her more than the actual stitch maker or
Yeah, like the designer.
designer itself. I mean, not saying it doesn't, but people focus more on that, right?
Hmm.
Oh, well, yeah. Now that I actually said the whole entire metaphor, it's so irrelevant. I'm sorry.
All right.
I was thinking of something else. All right, that was a bad metaphor.
It's all right. I appreciate you trying. You did good.
Anywho,
Anywho,
to me, yeah, it was average. I'm erase that out of your head. That was I wasted everybody's precious time by about 5 minutes.
Mhm.
And now I also taught people that Jessica Alba used to be in a movie called Idle Hand. It's
And we're not cutting this part out.
oh, I'm definitely not.
You're gonna listen to it and like it.
Although if you haven't seen Idle Hand, I highly recommend checking it out. It's so dumb. I love it.
It's truly dumb.
What was the
Yeah,
catch?
it was just like one of those good dumb '90s movies.
What was the catchphrase? An idle hand's
The Devil's Play thing.
Devil's play thing or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty funny. Anyways, so back to the actual question, like is AI generated artwork in question in a sense plagiarizing other artists' work?
This is such a good question. And I wonder like what work it's actually drawing from to create the images.
Well, because it's hard to determine that because it's not like it's copying, and they put a lot of effort to make sure it's not replicating any kind of original work out there.
Mhm.
It's just merely collecting data. So I don't know.
Well, yeah.
Say like, oh, this piece that a lot of people like, or this piece that's been fed to me as a certain light, a lot of light areas in this top corner, and then dark over here, and like those kind of little datas they collected and then put it out after
Yeah,
making a
it might
chimera.
not. It might not be. Yeah. It might not be because it's looking up patterns and studying patterns,
hmm
and that kind of makes sense. But
I think the point I'm trying to make is that not saying that more traditional artists cannot make artworks without like other artists before them to be inspired and to create something new. But in the case of AI, they have to have other people's work in order to create something new.
yeah,
Does that make sense?
that makes sense.
Right? It's not creating something from absolutely nowhere. And again, my work doesn't come straight out of nowhere. Like I'm definitely, whether consciously or subconsciously, something
Yeah,
I see.
we're
Like
pulling from somewhere.
yeah, like a lot of them, like whether it's music too. A lot of the music I wrote
Yeah.
back in the days, I'm like, oh, this is original piece. Turns out I just freaking flat out just slightly altering, like I don't know, Tool or Queens of Stone Age, like
Yeah.
and call it mine. So
Yeah.
I understand that most artworks are not in the sense like completely original, but it's in this particular case, it really isn't original.
Yep. It's not. It may be a unique compilation of things, but it's not.
Like, do I want to learn more about this and look into it?
I mean, I would want to like just know more and learn more.
Yeah.
I would probably grow to hate it more. But I mean, especially, I mean, that's gonna, now that that dude is won, and I feel like a lot of people are gonna be trying to do that
Yeah.
on these things.
It's going to start something for sure.
Yeah.
What I'm kind of,
I mean-
what I'm, my concern about all this, and this kind of comes down to the ethics of, or, bad mouthing the actual technology. And sorry, it's not that we should be bad mouthing the actual technology, but more about the people that uses it. Those are more the question. Because apparently, after I forgot which company it was, but one of the company that actually does create these programs tested out their products in different cities with many people to see if they could distinguish whether this is AI generated or if it's actual man made. physically speaking. And about 75% of the people did not recognize it as AI generated
As
painting.
AI.
Yeah, they apparently they all kept asking, like, "Oh wow, who's the artist?" You know, which
It's Artbot 5000.
it's kind of scary though. Like, who's to not who's to
That
stop
is a
people
scary
from
thought.
just especially with prints too, which is a huge market out there as far as buying original artworks. Like, who's to garner, stop people from just posting things on Instagram and whatnot, just calling their own personal work and just flat out lying that this is,
Yeah.
or maybe not lying, but just not mentioning that's AI generated. That, but as a result, it doesn't really matter. If the buyer likes it, that's fine. But I don't know. It just seems like it feels like a
It's
malpractice to
sketchy.
me. It's very
Yeah.
sketchy.
It's totally sketchy.
And it really undermines other artists who's spending hours and hours out of the day trying
Hmm.
to garner the skills.
Like hone a craft and actually be able to do it on their own,
Mm-hmm. Not to
It
mention,
just
like, even this piece, as spectacular as it is, I've seen digital artworks or real life painting that's just as good, if not better.
yeah, totally.
It's
Yeah.
not impossible. So it's, I don't know. It was really cool. Although, does it bother you a little bit that the circle doesn't completely finish?
It's not totally round either.
Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if that was intentional or
I think the computer messed up on that one.
I think so. That's funny because apparently some of the finished results that came out when he was fine tuning it, some of the figures did not have a head.
No.
That's imperfect still.
It's interesting. Yeah, I mean it's a cool image, but yeah, it's to me is not art.
I think we should learn a little bit more about AI generated art, and every now and then we should swap our physical paintings with AI generated paintings and see which will do better.
Oh, I'm really curious. It's a scary thing too. Like going back to what you said a second ago about like 75% of the people didn't recognize it as being AI generated, and it's only going to get better. It's only going to
for
get
sure.
more refined and pull away from actual artists.
Because like at the end of the day, those who's actually looking at the piece and purchasing these pieces, I really don't think they're going to care.
Mm-hmm.
Which is truly unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I mean, I understand where they come from. But that'd be so funny though. Next year around this time, if you just fully embraced AI generated artwork and you just completely
that's all I'm doing.
That's all you do.
I threw all my brushes away. I burned them. I don't need brushes anymore.
That'd be pretty hilarious though if that were the case.
Creating AI generated art.
All right. Well, I think this brings to the final question I have about this topic. What do you think we could do about it? Like us for more traditional artists?
I don't know. I mean, we're gonna have to adapt to it. I think.
Like, do we? Should it be a concern?
I think it's going to change the game as it grows. So I think, just like I said, like when the camera came about, artists had to change their approach,
Yeah.
And I think that'll probably change our landscape.
I think I'll be pretty okay with it as long as nobody claims themselves as artist.
Oh, that's going to happen. That's totally going to happen.
Oh, that's where the dress metaphor came in. I just realized that the celebrity crediting for the dress itself kind of thus relating to, like, they're the artists behind it. It's like, no, they just went window shopping, like picked out this and that, and sure, they got good taste, but does that make them an artist? No. That's what the metaphor was.
I get it. There
Yeah.
you go.
I found it.
All right.
Yeah.
Good job, Naoto.
I found an ending to it.
Yeah. You did
3
it.
hours later. Yay. I don't know. I'm curious to see where this goes. Like, I'm not too worried about it. Just because there's there's a huge market. I don't think it's going to get filled up by AI generated works.
No, I don't think so either. I think it's gonna definitely produce more irritating things for me.
Yeah.
Just people claiming to be artists and when they're programmers.
Not to mention
A-gaps.
Not to mention I think they can only make specific art, right? Like without the actual OG artist, again, they can't really do anything. The problem, I think the problem is that, well, no, I was going to say the problem is that they use other arts as a form of information to create these things. But then again, we all do the same. I just look at things without permission and then incorporate that into my work. So with all the thousands of unauthorized pictures in my computer that I use for references, I guess I can't really talk shit about that. Damn, I'm trying to find a loophole to like nail the coffin for me hating the AI generated work, but man,
you're not fully there.
Because I can't pinpoint the reason of hating it more than just personal reason.
Well, it's gonna affect your art sales and stuff, I think, down the road.
Sure. But will it though?
That and it is going to be a boatload of people claiming to be artists.
That I'm just flat out annoyed, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just don't know. And I don't know. I was actually talking to my brother about this. Like, I think people are allowed to like more than one things, obviously.
Yeah.
And just because somebody finds this intriguing and cool to look at and may want to buy a print, like, doesn't mean that they can't necessarily like your work, my work, or other artists' work, right?
No, of course.
Obviously.
But yeah, I think the problem isn't the patron. I mean, they could become more educated on fine art and digital art and all of that stuff and learn, but I mean, not everybody's going to do that. I mean, they're just going to like what they like, and that's fine.
How about this? Once this carries on for a while, and if we find it true that AI generated digital art and eye gaps around the world are ruining our personal art sales.
Mm-hmm.
If that day comes, we'll make a full episode just literally hashing out our anger and trying to
just
bring them down. Yeah. Just a bitch fest. We'll write a song about it, switch the opening and the ending song of just pure hatred.
Bitchity bitch, we're just gonna bitch.
Exactly. Do I need to censor that out? No, I think I'm okay. No,
it'll just sound like
But yeah, overall. So what did we learn here today?
Well, I learned that I have a lot of angry feelings about it, and more so than I realized.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, good. Well, now that we're angry,
to again make it more specific. I'm not mad at the art itself. I'm mad at the eye gaps.
Yeah,
annoyed.
I'm also mad at the judges.
Yeah, I don't get that.
The judges should have been like, no, that's not, no.
Oh,
been like,
One other thing, this is funny little comparison that Jason Allen made. It was like, well, just because, say, an artwork was painted while the artist himself was dangled upside down and finished, does that make the art any more valuable than it is as a finished piece? To that, I say, no, it doesn't. But I, it's a plus point on him as an artist. Like, wow, you did that. Like, the value of the artwork doesn't change, but I admire your kind of pointless tenacity of hanging yourself upside down and painting a piece. Like,
Very David Blaine.
That's cool. Very, yeah, David Blaine. Like, that's cool. I don't see the point of it, but that's awesome. It's different from somebody typing in prompts and keywords to generate artwork. I think that's completely two different things.
Yeah.
So, what the hell are you talking about, Jason? What the hell? Come on our show. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I will actually, that's one thing we've never done. Maybe we could do this down the road. Like, bring on somebody that we have complete opposition or opposite thoughts on certain category and have a bit of a what was that show back in the day with the idiot Tucker Carlson and Crossfire?
That's still on, right?
No, that got canceled after wow, I'm like forgetting everybody's name. Who was the OG Daily Show? Crap.
Jon Stewart?
Jon Stewart, thank you. Whoa. Sorry, John. Yeah, when Jon Stewart came on Crossfire and ridiculed Tucker, that show got canceled.
Yeah.
That show got canceled pretty much immediately. We'll have we could do a platform like that and then get ourselves canceled.
Yeah. You're like, wait, we're the bosses. How did we get canceled?
All right. Any other points you'd like to make or talk about in this particular subject?
I don't think so. I'm angry.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we got our feelings out there.
Yeah.
Never find yourself in the opposite side of that look.
The angry face?
The angry face.
I don't understand the tongue. How that's, I guess it's just like a nervous anger twitch.
Anyways, so again, I have mixed feelings about it. More so on a hatred side, and Ronnie absolutely
I just have hatred feelings.
And Ronnie has specific hatred towards it.
Full on hatred feelings.
Well, for those listeners out there, we would like to hear back to see what your feelings are about this particular subject. Are you guys pro AI generated art, or do you say that should just die along with other stupid things like, I don't know, what art movement died? What was that thing that you guys were so obsessed with? Something about a doll. What the hell?
Like
20 minutes later.
Beanie Babies?
Yes.
Oh, really? That was it?
I think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Something along the line of it. I didn't grow up with it, so I have no idea what it was.
It was around, but I wasn't like.
I thought it was making a resurgence right now. Anyway, it died back then. Chia Pets. There you go.
Chia Pets. Oh yeah.
There you go. That died really fast.
What about Pogs? That came back for a split second.
Did Pogs really come back for a split second?
Just a flash. I mean, if you blink your eye, you would have missed it.
Like Pogs as in the little.
No, not pogo sticks.
Oh, what's Pogs?
Pogs. They're like little round discs that you collect. You take them to school, and you have slammers, and you hit the Pogs with the slammer. And if you lose, then you lose all your Pogs to whoever you're playing, and then they just disappeared forever.
Was it a card?
There was like little round discs.
Oh, ours was a card. It's called Menko.
What's it called?
Menko.
Oh,
You slap it really hard, and if you flip it, you get that card. Same concept.
Somewhere in the same concept.
Yeah. Those are fun. Anywho, we're definitely
way off base.
Way off base there. All right. Well, a rather shorter episode for ours, in comparison to our average episode. But
yeah,
I don't know. The anger just.
I think it rocketed out really fast, and we were like,
seriously. Again, we'd love to hear back from you guys. So if you have an opinion you'd like to share, please comment on our Instagram or YouTube page. Either or will do. But yeah, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up this episode right here. Again,
really quick, I'll say something. If you can go review our stuff, like go give us a rating, like us, comment, all of that stuff on whatever you're listening on. Just that would help us out a lot for reaching other people, so they can hear us bitch about AI generated art, because that's what we want.
Yep.
But yeah, please go leave us a review.
I really love that. I was hoping for this to be more of an informed episode about AI generated artworks.
Yeah,
it just became a total bitch
I came
fest.
in like ready to go.
I love your response when I texted you about the potential of doing this episode. I was like, hey, this happened, you want to do it? And I could read your anger through the text, like, what?
Yeah,
I am so infuriated.
Like when you said that, I was like, no way. And then when I went and looked it up and read an article, I read a few of them, I was just like, I was so mad. It's like unreasonably mad.
I should find his personal information and post it on how to reach Jason Allen. No, I wouldn't do that. He's a programmer. He's a programmer. He could easily hack me back.
Yeah,
I don't want that.
Don't mess with programmers.
Yeah, don't mess with programmers. Well, on that note, folks, thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Two Idiots Talking About Art.
Thank you, guys.
Hope you learned something new. Hope
you probably didn't.
Maybe not, but yeah, go take a look at the piece. Again, despite our anger, it's a pretty cool looking thing. Yeah, just check it out. All right, well, I'll hope to see you guys on our next episode. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.
You're making art. You're talking art. One let's go down.
Now, Hassan, I have a great idea.
Oh, what is it?
The other asked.
Let's do a podcast.
And so